Hi there, my name is Hetterich. I'm 19 years old from Bradenton, Florida, and today I'm sitting in this video to demonstrate some of my horseback riding skills to you. So I started riding horses 13 years ago. It was a birthday present for my 6th birthday, and since then my parents haven't been able to keep me out of the saddle. Thanks to a really wonderful instructor I had, I started natural horsemanship about 10 years ago, and I really developed a passion for starting young horses. So about 5 years ago, I got this horse. He is an American quarter horse gelding. Even though coming out of the winter season, he sometimes looks a bit more like a woolly mammoth. So I started him, and since then we've gone into rodeos, we've worked cows, we've done obstacle competitions, and so I thought he would be the perfect partner to demonstrate some of my horseback riding skills for you today. And so I just want to say that I'm really hoping we can work together during the summer. I love people, I love horses, and more than anything, I love meshing those two passions together by being able to teach and share my love with other people. So I really look forward to meeting you all. Thank you. So I thought I'd start off this video with a brief groundwork demonstration, because I was always taught that a good horse starts on the ground and then that translates up into the saddle. So Sherlock here has been doing groundwork for a real long time. So we'll show you a little bit of just the very basic stuff so you can get an idea of how I teach and how he handles. I like for him to keep his nose tipped in here towards me. I always want there to be slack on my lead rope. And you'll notice I don't do a whole lot of trotting in circles. I try to do a lot of changes in direction to get his mind thinking about me. I always point first and then follow through with the lead rope or with my carrot stick here if he doesn't respond to that point in a timely manner. And then he stops, glancing at his hindquarters, asking him to yield, and then we always finish it with the backup to keep him out of my space. So that's just a really basic demonstration. And then this horse, he does know a bit of liberty work. I'll take him off the clip here and show you how he'll basically do the same thing. That's because I'm trying to teach him without any tension on the lead rope. So if I'm not using the lead rope, I want him to be able to maintain that without it. Whoa. Good boy. Easy. So this horse is pretty confident when it comes to his groundwork. Oh. Easy. So I always teach him to back up and stay just a bit out of my space. So then he can do a little bit more here. I won't go too in depth, but he obviously does here. Let me get into a better view for you. Ooh. He does his hindquarter yields. I put my hand up here to block the shoulder, and then I look at that butt. And then the reverse here. Hand up to block the shoulder. Look at the butt, tell him that I want movement, and I do usually wait for that crossover of the two hind legs. And then see if I can move him over here so you get a better view. Ooh. I always like to desensitize my horses. So this is just, my carrot stick is an extension of my arm. It's not anything he's afraid of. I can do just about anything with this whip. None of it's much of a concern to Sherlock here. So that's just a real brief groundwork demonstration to give you an idea of how I handle on the ground before I move up into the saddle. So I'm just going to saddle him up for you now, and we'll get right up in the saddle. So first I'm going to take a saddle blanket here. Just dust it off, make sure he's not got anything that's going to poke on him. I've set it right up here on his withers so that it sits nice and high, so that it's not going to be slipping back on him while I'm riding. And I'm going to grab the saddle. So I'm going to swing the girth and the stirrup up here, and then I'm just going to lift it up. Gently set it up there on top of him, and let this, his stirrup and his girth, fall down onto the offside here. So I'm going to reach up. You're going to come a little closer for him. I always reach up under so that I can get to the saddle pad here and pull it up. It helps relieve the pressure off the withers, and pull it up in the back there. So then I move around to the other side here, and I just make sure that his girth's not twisted around like this. Make sure that it's straight. Then I'm going to move his stirrup up here so that I've got the room that I need to work. I'm going to grab his girth. I take the cinch here, straighten it out. So then some of these cinches will have holes in them that you can put it through, but I've always preferred tying mine. So I loop it through again. I'm going to tighten it up just a little. I put it through, and I put it up, and I tug it through again. That's always how I've liked to do my girths. And then just a little bit at a time, I'll tighten them up. But I never like to just pull and tighten them up all at once. You know, horses bloat out when you girth them up. So I usually tighten it up just enough so that the saddle's safe. And then before I mount up, I'll lead them, walk them for a second, then tighten up again before I mount. So that's the saddling process. And then I'll just go ahead and bridle him up. So I'm just using an O-ring snaffle on him. He doesn't need anything intense in his mouth. So with this horse, I know he's not running away. Excuse the wormer he's still got on his mouth here. Gonna reach around, go up over the ear, and just offer the bit to him. He's gonna open his mouth right up, but if he hadn't, I'd have stuck my thumb into his mouth and given it a little wiggle and ask him to open. So then, I'm gonna go to his throat latch here, keep him from putting his head down, and tighten it up. So you can come and see how I keep my bridle. I don't like there to be a ton of wrinkles here, because when I give my horse its head, I want it to feel full release. So I keep my bridle not loose, but comfortable for him. So we're all saddled up and ready to go out to the pasture here. So when it comes time to mounting up, you're gonna wanna hold two things. You gotta hold rein and you gotta hold mane. If you don't hold mane, then you're probably not getting up anywhere. And if you don't hold rein, then you might accidentally go somewhere too fast. So mane and rein, hold on tight, and then you're gonna take the stirrup and you're gonna get your left foot here, unless you wanna sit backwards, and trust me, you don't wanna sit backwards. So you take your left foot, you put just the tip of your toe into the stirrup, not the full thing, and then 1, 2, 3, bounce up. And this right leg here, you're gonna make sure that your right leg isn't accidentally hitting your horse on the bum when you flip it over. All right, so when you get up, you don't wanna kick your horse. You wanna make sure to get up, keep the leg all the way over the butt, and then sit down gently in the saddle. And then you can put your right leg in the stirrup too. And once again, we're just gonna put the tip of our toes in the stirrup. We don't need our whole foot going in there, because that could just be a safety hazard. So we only do the tips. So that's how you mount up. So once we're sitting on the horse, the first thing we have to learn is how to stop the horse. So we hold our reins on our horse, always low and apart, like this. Not like we're resting them on the saddle, but down towards the horse's shoulders, because it's much more effective communicating with the horse in this little bubble here. There's never really any circumstance where your hand should be up where your hands should be out. Most all of your communication with your horse can happen right here by the horse's neck and by the horse's shoulders. So we keep our hands low and apart, and to stop the horse, we just pull back gently, slowly on our reins. We don't need to yank, we don't need to tug, just a slow pressure until the horse stops, and then we give the horse the reins back and we release that pressure. So then we do something similar when it comes to turning. We keep our hands low and apart, and if we want to turn to the right, for example, we keep our left rein slack and we pull on our right rein and we guide their head over towards us. Okay? And then same thing to the left, slack in the right rein, pull to the left. There you go. And we like to keep in this nice little bubble here around our saddle horn. So those are the very basics when it comes to horseback riding, and now I think we can get moving. Okay, now that we're all mounted up, it's time to get moving. So I'll just do a real brief walk, trot, lope demonstration for you. All right, well, there we go. Nothing too fancy, but I hope it gets the job done. Thank you. Okay, so something Sherlock and I have been working on is engaging his hindquarters more, especially in his stops. For a horse who's at his level of training, when I ask him to stop, he should really be sitting his butt down into the ground and stopping pretty much directly on cue. And so that's something I'm working on him right now for, because sometimes when I give him that cue, he likes to root his nose forward and work against it instead of sliding down into that stop. I'm not looking for anything fancy. I'm just looking for him to sink his butt down and stop when I ask him to stop, with his head down, working with the bit, not pulling against it. So something I've been doing to fix this problem of him resisting the stop is when I stop him, so I'll show you what I do. I'll whoa, and then I wait for that head to go down, and I ask for a back up alongside it. Beautiful, like that. So I want him to give his head, almost like he's collecting himself up, and I want his nose to stay down low. So when I pick up on these reins, I don't want to feel a lot of pressure on it. Like there, he gave his head. Beautiful. I know it's hard to see, especially on an iPhone camera, so excuse that, but I'll move out and do it a little bit faster so that you can get a better idea of what I mean. So I'm going to ask him to stop. Whoa. And see how he roots his nose out? Right there, perfect example. I waited, and see he tried to walk forward there. Good. So I'm going to wait until he stops. His nose that he pushed out originally has come back down towards his chest, and it's loose on the reins. I don't want to feel pressure when I pick up my horse to have him stop. So I'll do that again so you can get a better idea. So I'm going to whoa, sit back in my saddle, pull back, and he didn't root back as much that time. Good boy. He's sitting there chewing, so I'll give him a second to think about it. So I know that's nothing fancy, but you know, he's pretty well past the point of causing me much trouble. So at this point, I'm really nitpicking on him, making sure that he's exactly the horse I want to create. So when I pick up on my horse's head, I want it to be instant give, no pushback. So that's how we're working on perfecting our stops and engaging the hindquarters right now. Okay, well, you might notice that something is different now, and that would be the fact that I've taken Sherlock's bridle off. So something we have been working on alongside his more structured riding is his liberty work. So I do a lot of bareback, a lot of bridleless riding with him, and I just use this rope here around his neck to help me communicate. So when it comes to doing liberty work and having a neck rope like this, you have much more control over the horse when your neck rope is up here on them, because it gives you closer connection to their head and they feel you a little bit better. And so something I'm working on is moving him from doing liberty work with the rope up here, where I have to be up out of my seat, where I don't like to be, and kind of weaning him down so that I can keep this rope here closer to his chest and closer to the bottom of his neck. And so I'll just ride him a bit for you and show you a little bit about how he's adapting to doing this liberty work. So. So part of teaching him, you saw he did stop there, but it was a slow stop. Ooh. Good. Part of teaching him this is going to be some exaggerated vocal cues on my half and some exaggerated body language. So I'm really going to sink down into my seat. I'm really going to give him a gentle pull here, and I'm really going to tell him, whoa. And that's going to help him learn that the cue is no longer this rope touching him up here. The cue is now the rope moving down and tightening up here on his chest a little bit. So we'll do a little bit more. See, and it wasn't perfect there. And so if I give him that exaggerated cue and I sit back and he doesn't stop, I still am going to take the liberty to move this rope up a little bit further here, give him that direct contact. So I give him the chance to do the right thing with the subtlest cue possible, which is a tug down here. And if he doesn't respond to that, I move forward, make it clear for him, and say, actually no, and I tell you to stop. If I say stop, you have to, and to help you, I'll move this up here to make my signals clear. So that's essentially how we're working on tuning him up and getting him to respond to the neck rope further up on his neck. So with the neck rope, he also does some other things. It's not exactly, something that is a problem, but he's learning to do his bridled cues without the aid of his bit. So you can see he's doing a bit of a side pass there. Easy. Good boy. And it's a little sloppier than I'd accept it if he had a bit in his mouth, but the cue for the side pass usually involves me tipping his head in with the bit, so that's a really complex maneuver for me to ask him without that kind of assistance. So I'm really impressed with how that's coming along. He does his pivots, and just about anything else that he'll do with his bridle on. A current project of mine is teaching him to do it without it. So I really appreciate you taking the time to view my video here and to consider me for this application. And I really, really hope that I'll have the opportunity to come out and work with you for the summer. I love horses, I love people. I'm ready to work hard, and I really want to become a part of your ranch family and do my best to represent myself and your organization, and to treat your horses and your clients and my fellow employees in the very best way that I can. So I really hope to hear back from you. Thank you so much for taking the time.